Hey everybody, it's your boy Chase, and welcome back to another episode of Chase Uncharted. For those of you who have been following along, you'll know that we are getting ready to leave Da Nang and the stunning Ba Na Hills and traveling out to Hoi An for a little leisure time, some good food, and maybe even a fine tailored shirt or two. After that, we're going to reverse course and go back up north to Hue in the ancient capital and get a little history going. So on that note, let's jump into it. The adventure starts now. Hoi An is located just south of Da Nang, roughly 45 minutes away via car. As such, a taxi or private charter is probably the easiest way to get back and forth. I was able to book one through my hotel, and it cost me about $45 for a one-way trip. I was craving a little bit more of a social atmosphere, so I decided to stay at the Mad Monkey Hostel. I do still desire quiet time though, so I was able to book a private room. This room was around 800,000 Vietnamese dong per night, which comes out to around $30 US. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised by the hostel setup. As you can see, this is a rather large building. Everything was clean and well taken care of. And the staff here was exceptionally nice, supportive, and very friendly during my stay. Now, all that being said, this is again a social hostel. Definitely leans much more towards a younger crowd with activities every single night going late into the evening. So if that's not quite your scene, then probably a little bit better to look for something else. Now, once I got to Hoi An, one of the first places I had to stop at was Banh Mi Phuong. Fans of Anthony Bourdain may recognize this location from No Reservation Season 5. You can still see photos of him plastered all over the restaurant and even on the menu from when he visited. I got a classic banh mi, which came out to 35,000 dong, which is around $1.33 US. I also got the barbecue spring rolls, which were a little bit of a DIY project, but still crispy and delicious. This is a 2-story building with plenty of seating, so when you walk in, don't be intimidated by the line at the front. That's usually for to-go orders. You can walk right past that to the front door and request to be seated. Both times that I went, there was plenty of seating, a little bit of a crowd, but sure to get in. Afterwards, I did some walking around and checked out the riverfront in the downtown area. Eventually found a tailor shop, 45-2. Hoi An is well known for its tailor shops and has become a very popular destination for people to get custom tailored suits, dresses, and really anything that you can think of. I took the opportunity to get 2 custom tailored shirts made while I was here, and it came out to about $80. I joined a group tour the next day. Started off by going back down to downtown Hoi An and exploring the local markets. The tour guide walked us through, showed us some of the local food items that are very common to Hoi An and Vietnam as a whole. And we also learned about some local ingredients as well as herbs and spices that are very common to Vietnamese cooking, which we were going to be using later that day in our traditional Vietnamese cooking class. After getting washed up and putting on our fancy aprons and hats, we got hands-on, learning how to make a variety of Vietnamese dishes. These included papaya salad, delicious fried spring rolls, and the main entree, which was a wonderful clay pot fish. The use of Vietnamese herbs and spices and aromatics really filled the air and came through in the dishes. We even learned some fancy garnishing techniques and the trick to a nice little flambe. After lunch, we got in the vans and headed back down towards the river. We enjoyed a nice little ride in Hoi An's famous coconut boats. These coconut or basket boats are traditionally made out of bamboo and held together with resin. Their history goes all the way back to one of my favorite things, tax evasion. During the period of French colonialism, there were high taxes on local fishing boats. So in order to get around this, a lot of the fishermen started designing these round boats and saying that they were actually fishing baskets. This helped them circumnavigate the taxes on boats. Today, these boats have become a modern tourist icon and are a must-do if you're coming to Hoi An. We even got to do a little fishing ourselves along the mangrove banks. I was fisherman of the day, catching this beautiful little crab feast. I was rewarded by getting the opportunity to make my partner in the boat row instead of myself. After getting down towards the end of the river, there was another gentleman waiting in his own basket boat. He was ready and waiting for anyone to come over to his boat, take on one of the other classic activities that happens in the basket boats, which is where the captain of the boat will spin it around as fast as possible, almost like being on a tilt-a-whirl. So of course, I had to go over and do it myself for all my wonderful viewers out there. Believe me when I say you've got to hold on tight to this thing if you don't want to take a nice drink in the river. It's important to note that many of the boat operators are going to expect or will request a tip up front if you want to get spun around like this. It normally is around 50,000 to 100,000 dong, which is about $2 to $4 US. So make sure you have cash on hand before you go. Now, before taking off from Hoi An, I had one more item on my agenda that I needed to take care of, and that was trying two of the iconic dishes known in Hoi An, which are cow lo noodles and white rose dumplings. Cow lo noodles are a thick, chewy noodle typically served with pork and a savory sauce as well as some rice crackers. They were really good and filling, but did not compare at all to one of my new favorite dishes, which is the white rose dumplings. It's a pork and shrimp dumpling served in a translucent white rice paper with fried shallots on top and a very delicate sauce that makes it savory and sweet and oh so satisfying. I did go ahead and backtrack up to Da Nang, where I stayed a few nights and booked a day tour that picked me up at my hotel to go up north to Hue in the ancient capital. Hue has served as the capital of Vietnam multiple times throughout its history, including from 1738 to 1775, then as the capital for the Nguyen Dynasty from 1802 to 1945. The first stop we made on the tour was the Pagoda of the Celestial Lady, which was built in 1601 by the first emperor of the Nguyen Dynasty. Sitting alongside the Perfume River, this 7-story pagoda is seen as one of the unofficial icons of the city of Hue. It's played a key role throughout much of Vietnam's recent history, and even holds the Austin motor car in which Thic Quan Duc was driven to his self-immolation in Saigon in 1963 in protest of the regime at the time. From the Pagoda of the Celestial Lady, we made our way to the ancient Imperial City of Hue, which was initially constructed in 1804 and was designated as a UNESCO Heritage Site in 1993. While walking around the site, it's not uncommon to see people who rent different costumes and come here to do photo shoots in traditional Vietnamese garbs. There's businesses located around town and even down in Da Nang, where if that's something you're interested in, you can go ahead and check it out yourself. Now, the Royal Palace did have several expansions since its initial construction. Even though it did take on more of a ceremonial purpose during the French colonial period, it continued to serve as the residence for the royal family all the way up until 1945, which marked the end of the monarchy in Vietnam, which corresponded with the end of the Second World War. Now, it's very interesting to note as you walk through the palace grounds the changing styles as new buildings and additions were made and how they correspond to the influences of the emperor of the time and also what was going on in Vietnam's history. Most of the older and outlying buildings adhered to a more traditional style, including the throne room, while the newer additions show the French influence that came through during the colonial period and is also exemplified by many of the emperors and rulers having studied and taken education in Europe and bringing those influences back with them. One great example of this is Khai Dinh's tomb, which is the final imperial tomb made by the Nguyen Dynasty. Khai Dinh reigned from 1916 to 1925. Construction of the tomb began in 1920, but wasn't completed until 1931 by his son, Emperor Boudai. As I mentioned, one of the things that makes this temple unique is the multiple styles used throughout the construction and imported materials from China and Japan. It features Goth, Baroque, and neoclassical elements, and was itself marked as a UNESCO Heritage Site in 1993. And in the center is a 160-meter realistic bronze statue of Emperor Khai Dinh himself. On clear days, they can open up the doors and he can look out across the hills of Vietnam in perpetuity. And with that, we're going to take one last trip back to Da Nang and look at those stunning hills ourselves. Please remember to like this video and subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get notifications in the future for other videos. Also, please remember to check out the Etsy store. The store's name is Travel Texture, and it's where I take my favorite photos and turn them into travel posters. They're available for sale for all your family and friends. Thank you again for watching, and let's go chase the uncharted.